So, I've been trying to come out with a Kizaru video for a while. The break after 1088, I figured, was the perfect time to speculate on how the Straw Hats would beat York, clash with the Marines, and escape from Egghead. Only for Oda to toss that completely out the window in 1089 with the Straw Hats already beating York off screen. The end of 1089 had me considering that the Straw Hats may even stomp Kizaru and possibly make Egghead Island their own territory, as hinted at by the narrator a couple chapters earlier, only for me to completely shred that idea up by the time 1090 came out, with the Straw Hats attempting to escape. Both times I attempted to come out with a video in time, both times I failed and was completely thwarted by Ichiro Oda. That just goes to show I gotta come out with videos way quicker. Well, you snooze, you lose, I guess, but it's definitely not over. And in fact, it's just starting with the conclusion of 1090. Kizaru is set to take on his own subordinate and nephew, Sentomaru. While it's interesting that one of the OG admirals is about to go up against someone with a self-proclaimed best defense in the world, I don't think this fight is going to last long, and it's only a matter of time before Luffy comes face to face with Kizaru himself, and that's what we're here to talk about today. Before we get started, drop a like on this video because this is going to be a fire subject. Make sure you subscribe so we can get back into that algorithm, guys. We're on our road to 400, so make sure you subscribe to get into that 400 crew, and let's get straight into it.
Hey, listen!
Now, there's definitely a lot that goes into taking on an admiral, and it is very fair to ask the question, is Luffy even ready to take on an admiral? And in short, the answer is yes. At this point, if you've been watching or reading One Piece, what have you been doing if you don't realize that Luffy is 100% ready to take on an admiral? He's been throwing his weight around in the New World against the top players, and the admirals are probably the only major players that Luffy has yet to clash with. So it makes sense that Oda would set up an admiral as Luffy's next clash. And oh, what a clash it will be. Luffy's observation haki is already kicked in, tipping us off to how strong Kizaru is, and we know once he makes light work, pun intended, out of Sentomaru, well, Luffy's definitely gonna take this personal. I mean, Sentomaru trusted Luffy with Vegapunk's safety, and while Sentomaru probably was just looking at it logically, right? Luffy probably thinks they're best friends. Now, you know what? I'll take it a step further. Luffy's probably getting ready to add Sentomaru to the Grand Fleet. That's just how Luffy rolls. So the clash is definitely going to happen. Now, when it comes to gauging Kizaru's strength, it is a complete mystery. All right, your guess is really as good as mine. And out of all our top tier fighters in the One Piece world, Kizaru is definitely the one that is the most active, which is pretty funny for a guy that literally seems like he's walking around high as a kite all the time. On top of that, his trolling personality has really made a situation where we don't actually have a way of gauging his strength. He ran all over the supernova, ran him out of town in Saburi. However, also in pre-time skip, he went and got himself kicked in the face by Marco. He sure enough didn't mind clashing head to head with the first mate and vice captain of the Roger Pirates, the Dark King himself, Silver's Rayleigh. However, he definitely got shook when Ben Beckman pulled up on him at Marineford. And I gotta say, I'm having trouble really trying to figure out when to take this guy seriously. Add to that, he's really indecisive. One minute he's telling the Gorosei that he can't go up against Sentomaru, that's against his ideals. The next minute he's charging at Sentomaru head on. Ben Beckman had him dead to rights with his hands up. Next thing you know, he says forget all of that and chases after an unconscious Luffy as Law looks to make their escape underwater with the polar tank. This guy makes no sense. I mean, This man is so unpredictable that between him and Luffy, this might lead to the most unpredictable clash in all of One Piece. Can you imagine the light beams, the lasers going in every direction while Gear 5th has turned the entire landscape into a cartoon world? This clash will be insane. Now, you know me, I'm not just going to call a clash without giving you some sort of winning conditions. And while a clash doesn't necessarily have to have a definitive winner or loser, it does have to have somebody come out on top and somebody come out on the bottom. For Luffy to actually be able to win this clash, I would say that at the bare minimum, he needs to go head to head against Kizaru without any backing down or running, and still manage to escape with Vegapunk. Now, on the surface, that doesn't really sound that hard. There's some key deciding factors though. And the first one is definitely Sentomaru. I think that it is possible that Sentomaru might provide some sort of self-sacrifice. He seems to be kind of angling to that direction, and obviously he respects his uncle, but he also puts a lot of respect on Vegapunk, and he put Vegapunk in the care of the Straw Hats. So it wouldn't surprise me if he sacrificed himself in order to hinder the world government here. This will be a great way for him to go out as well. I really think this could add some respect to an otherwise kind of meaningless character in Sentomaru, and it would be a great way for him to exit. He doesn't have to die or nothing, so please don't say that he has to die. He doesn't have to die, he just has to lose, maybe get knocked out for good this time. The next factor, and which is a pretty big disadvantage for both sides, is the Blackbeard Pirates. They're a wild card in this situation. The Blackbeard Pirates have yet to make an appearance here on Egghead Island. However, we know for a fact they're here. We saw them pulling up outside of Egghead Island just a couple chapters ago. And of course, after chapter 1090, I gotta agree with a lot of people that are speculating online that Bonnie is actually Katarina Devon in disguise. That's right. This would make it super duper interesting. Of course, Luffy would have to navigate the Blackbeard Pirates while taking on an admiral, so I'm not really sure how he would be able to do that. That would be really tough. And of course, we don't know their intentions here. Are their intentions still to steal devil fruits? Obviously, they could steal a Vegapunk. That would be huge because Blackbeard, on top of not having a poneglyph interpreter, he doesn't have someone that can just produce devil fruits either, and I'm sure Blackbeard would love that. So that would be a huge factor. Keep an eye out for Katarina Devon. She should be making an appearance here pretty soon. One huge factor that would come in handy for the Straw Hats is, of course, Vegapunk himself. The fact that they're fighting Kizaru is fitting in a number of ways. You know, Kizaru stomped them out at Sabaody. Kizaru was the first person that was gonna go take them on when it came to the Wano conflict, albeit Sakazuki stopped him. The fact that Kizaru was the first person to show up here, it's very, very fitting. Also, the fact that Vegapunk knows more about Kizaru than possibly anybody else in the entire story. Vegapunk should know everything there is to know about the Glint Glint fruit, and the fact is, he's definitely run experiments on Kizaru's devil fruit, making it possibly the only Logia fruit in history that was successfully cloned and put into all the other Pacifista, the Frontier Dome, the Seraphim, and who else knows what. But do not be surprised if Vegapunk has something up his sleeve in order to be able to directly cancel or combat Kizaru's devil fruit. You're talking about a guy that has the knowledge of the ancient kingdom, makes phasing technology and holograms for fun, and has successfully cracked the code of the lineage factor. Vegapunk ain't no joke. Another potential advantage for the world government is, of course, Saint J. Garcia. We know he's probably a sleeping giant this one, and in Sabo's flashback we saw that he's definitely a devil fruit user. What kind? We don't know because it hasn't been revealed yet. But we know that he was one of the ones that gave chase to Sabo and King Cobra in Pangaea Castle. He's currently lying in wait for Kizaru to make his move, and I'm sure that he's hoping that he won't have to get his hands dirty But if things take a turn for the worst, well, I wouldn't be surprised if he stepped up. And that would be something we have never seen before, making this super, super interesting. Now, I think overall it would be great for Kizaru to be the first admiral to actually take an L here. And just hear me out. An admiral taking an L in the One Piece story at this point would not be that bad. None of the admirals have taken L's before. Maybe if you consider Kuzan losing to Akainu an L, but not really, right? Kizaru taking an L to the Straw Hats, that's a little concerning. But check me, the Straw Hats are a force to be reckoned with now. Luffy is a full-fledged Yonko level character, and on top of that, Kizaru has been the only admiral terrorizing pirates non-stop for the past 2.5 years since the Paramount War. I'm not saying Luffy has to put him down permanently or nothing. I'm just saying if they go head to head and Luffy definitely comes out on top, then that paints a picture of Luffy that he's finally a top tier character while sending the world government into a panic. Sakazuki would definitely have to do something now. He'd have to get up off the porch, and who knows, maybe even the Gorosei mobilize at that point. Let's be honest, the Straw Hats made quick work out of CP0, and if he takes on an admiral and gets away with it, the world government would be seriously out of options. The Fleet Admiral and the Gorosei members would be all that's left really in the top tiers of the Marines and the world government respectively. So they'd have to ask themselves, who's gonna stop this guy? But let me know what you guys think down below. Yo, is Kizaru going to be the first casualty for the Marines? I mean, technically, I guess Garp at this point would be the first casualty of the Marines, but we don't know Garp's status. But let me know. Luffy might actually get away with it here, and I just can't shake this feeling that with the entire world watching, the world government watching on, Morgans and everybody watching on, if Luffy clashes with an admiral, the keyword is clash here, with an admiral and gets away with it, man, you're talking big, big, big numbers for the Straw Hats at this point before they go to Elbaf, putting them up against Shanks. Man, One Piece is really getting crazy. Let me know in the comment section what you think about this below. Make sure you drop a like on the video. Make sure you subscribe. Hit the notification bell because we are coming out with videos on this every week. This has been your boy, Seafood That Guy speaking. I want you guys to stay safe, stay healthy. COVID is back, so please, 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 guys, stay healthy, and I will catch you guys next time. Peace.